G'day guys and welcome back to the channel. We're doing something a little bit different today. We are just reviewing and discussing Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episodes 1 and 2. I'm doing it this way because I actually did record my reactions to both those episodes, but my microphone audio was corrupted and I've seemingly fixed what the issue is. I'm not even sure what the problem was to begin with, but everything's in the green now. I mean, everything was in the green during that recording anyway, but I'm not sure what happened. But I've reset some things. I did this, I did that. It's in the green now, so we'll see how this goes, actually. I'm not too sure. I've done some tests. It seems to be fine now, but we'll see how it goes. But yes, so this is just me talking about the first two episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And we'll just start right off the bat. We'll talk about what happened in episode 1, and then we'll get to some other stuff as we go along. So what happened in episode 1? We started the episode, I think the first 10 minutes were basically the standard origin story. I will say that it looks like Uncle Ben was already dead before all this started happening, so we do have that, but it was his first day of high school in Midtown High. Just as May pulls up to the school to drop Peter off, a portal opens up. A venomized creature, or at least, at the very least, a symbiote creature drops out and starts attacking everyone until Doctor Strange shows up through the portal as well, and they have a little bit of a fight. They destroy part of the school, but afterwards, after they leave, a little spider had also come through the portal and bites Peter on the back of the neck. And just as he's going unconscious, there's one thing we do need to remember, is just as he was going unconscious, the spider climbed its way onto another student's bag, and that student ended up picking the bag up and walking off. So that spider is still alive, still in this universe. It's probably going to bite a couple other people. At this point, we have no idea who that would be. But yes, just remember that spider is still alive, it's still out there. And we move on from that. We jump a few months later where... what's the school name? Something Bales. I think it's Rockford Bales. They're in that high school. Peter's a little dismayed because it doesn't have like advanced technology classes, that sort of thing. But he's with his now best friend Nico, who he met actually outside of Midtown before the attack happened. But they're there. What happened there? It was like we know he has a crush on Pearl, right? Who used to babysit him. Interesting to note that Pearl, what's her last name? Penguin, something like that. Pearl is actually a character in the comic books called Wave. She's like the guardian of the Philippines, that sort of thing. Will eventually, anyway. But yes, she used to babysit Peter, and she is now dating, was he the captain or the quarterback of the football team, Lonnie Lincoln, who I believe later on becomes Tombstone. But yeah, so those two are dating. But like I said, we jumped a couple of months into the future, and Peter's doing his friendly neighborhood spider stuff. He's gone around saving people. One of those happens to be Harry Osborn, who was being jumped by some thugs who were for some reason live streaming the whole thing. They ended up live streaming their beatdown by Spider-Man. And he starts getting a bit more notoriety as he's going along. Obviously, I think the live stream helped, but he's just helping people here and there. He's getting attention, that sort of thing. And then we ended the episode with Norman Osborn being in the apartment talking to May Parker, to Aunt May. Interesting to note as well that it's kind of reminiscent of Civil War, Captain America Civil War in the MCU, where Peter's doing his friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. He comes home one time and Aunt May is in the living room talking with Tony Stark. Yeah, so definite parallels there. I should also mention, for those that may not know, is that this show was originally supposed to be in the MCU, but from what I understand, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand is that it was too restrictive for what they were originally thinking of wanting to do, and so they changed it to a whole other, just it's in its own universe type of thing. And it could come into play later on with the whole multiverse thing that the MCU actually does have going on, but who knows? Only time can tell on that one. But yes, so there's definite parallels there with that sort of ending. But that was episode 1. We'll just move on to episode 2 because it picks up from where it left off from episode 1. It turns out Norman Osborn is there to offer Peter an internship, just like Tony Stark did, except this is an actual internship and not a lie at this point. Yeah, he's offered an internship at Oscorp, which he does accept. And this is the one where I have to do some research on while I'm talking about it, because we had a few name drops. I think there was maybe 4 or 5 that we had at Oscorp that I had to look at, because I was like, some of those names are familiar, but I'm not entirely too sure. But we'll talk about it. He meets his fellow interns. They are Gene, Asher, Amadeus, or however you say his name, Amadeus maybe. And we meet the scientist known as Bentley Whitman. And I did have to Google these names because, like I said, some of them are familiar. But we'll start with Gene, who goes by the name Finesse. Let's see. Hang on. Wikipedia. Finesse is recruited into the Avengers Academy. Okay. Along with 5 other students who have been affected by Osborn. Let's see. Her ability to perceive even the slightest facial movements make her a human lie detector. She's a part of AIM team kidnapping someone. Kidnapping girl from a scientist expedition led by Nadia Van Dyne, the current wasp. That's something else. She's been a polymath since the age of 5. She's able to learn vast amounts of knowledge at an accelerated rate. Anything from languages, skills, fighting techniques. It's very similar to Taskmaster. This is what just Wikipedia is saying. Taskmaster there. Over time, older memories become lost, overwritten as new skills are learned. This is partly shown by a possibility in an alternate future where Finesse is only able to remember people by their movements. So she's a human lie detector, apparently. Part of the Avengers Academy, and later becomes a member of AIM. But, like, that's her. And then we move into Asher, who, well, not seemingly a big character. She is from Wakanda. And apparently, again, according to Wikipedia, she first appeared in Infinity, The Hunt #1. and she has an ability to manipulate light, and she actually helped fight Thanos during his invasion of Earth. Obviously, like I said, this is like a origin story for like the next generation of superheroes, because we have seen, I think Norman Osborn has a picture of with Captain America, and even Aunt May has a little Iron Man in flight thing hanging above her on the rear view mirror in the car. So we have the Avengers, they do exist, and this seems to be an origin story for that next generation. So all these characters, while still young and obviously don't have, and may or may not have their abilities, I don't actually know. I don't think they do at this point. They may eventually get them as well. The next character we learned was Amadeus Cho, or Amadeus, or however you say his name. This was the one character that I'd heard before a number of times, because he's appeared as like the Iron Spider in Ultimate Spider-Man. He's appeared as the Iron Spider in Lego Marvel Superheroes Avengers Reassembled. He's appeared as the totally awesome Hulk in Spider-Man as well. And that version was like he was an intern at the Avengers. And apparently he will appear as Iron Hulk in Iron Man and His Awesome Friends, which I don't know what that is, but this is just Wikipedia. Yes, so he's either going to be the Iron Spider or the totally awesome Hulk, or even Iron Hulk or something in this show. It could be something else entirely, who knows. But considering most of his appearances have been as the Iron Spider, it's most likely going to be like that. Man, he's actually appeared as playable. Well, let's see. In video games, he's appeared as the Hulk in Marvel Future Fight, the Hulk in Marvel Puzzle Quest, the Hulk in Marvel Avengers Academy, and the Hulk in Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. In the film Avengers Confidential, Black Widow and Punisher, it just says the character as Amadeus Cho appears in that. But yeah, so it's either going to be Iron Spider or a version of the Hulk. That's the character that I was aware existed. And so we got his sort of introduction, very cocky, very arrogant sort of scientist. Even though he's an intern, he's very sure of himself. And obviously Peter didn't quite get along with all of them. Peter was hoping to be part of like the robotics program, but the Dr. Bentley Whitman didn't see it that way, and Peter is now working as, what is he doing? I think he's working on like energy, right, with Dr. Connors, right? So there's two characters there, Bentley Whitman and Dr. Connors. We'll start with Bentley Whitman, who is the Wizard, I believe. What does Wikipedia have to say? Yeah, he's definitely the Wizard, or the Wingless Wizard. Definitely an older character. Let's see. When did he first appear? The Wingless. He's a supervillain. He first appeared as an enemy for the Human Torch. He first appeared in Strange Tales, number 102. Which was released in November 1962. Which was obviously, and was created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby. He possesses a near superhuman level of genius and was a child prodigy and a chess champion. He became an inventor of great renown, selling his futuristic inventions to the wealthy, becoming rich. He became known as a wizard by legally assuming the stage name and using his advanced scientific inventions to perform feats of magic. He became a professional criminal and defeated Johnny Storm, who had only just first appeared as the Human Torch. Obviously, this is a different version of that. Like I said, this is in its own universe. It's a variation of all these characters that we know. But yes, Bentley Whitman is the Wizard. At this point, I assume at this point, he's not the wizard and he's just a scientist working at Oscorp. At this point in time, I'm assuming something does happen at Oscorp that gives people their superhuman abilities, but who knows? We've only seen 2 episodes. I have no idea where the story is actually going, so anything can happen. Yeah, so he's the wizard, and then the other one I was also wanting to talk about was Carla Connors. I couldn't actually find any information on her other than the fact that she's like this universe's variant of Dr. Kurt Connors. Interesting to note about this character is that Carla Connors does only have one arm, same as Kurt Connors. I'd originally thought that maybe Carla Connors was like Kurt Connors' daughter, but apparently not. Apparently it's the same person, just a variation of the character. And yes, and again, zero mentions at this point of whether or not she becomes the lizard or if she is the lizard. It's just Dr. Connors is a woman. She has one arm and she's working as a scientist on an energy project at Oscorp. And now this energy project that she's working on with Peter now alongside her is, I want to say, what did they call it? It was a variation of like the Stark arc reactor, but it can't be the arc reactor because he's patented it and they have to work on something different but similar at the same time. It is what it is. So they're working on that at the moment, and that's all we really know about it. What else happened in that episode? We got the characters, we got the internship. Peter was actually invited. Oh, one thing I didn't mention was that Peter and Lonnie Lincoln, who becomes Tombstone later on, are partners in science, working on a big project together. They were partnered up. Actually, Lonnie was the one who suggested he team with Peter up in the first place, because Pearl had told him how smart Peter was, and obviously Lonnie Lincoln wants to learn more and obviously kind of cruise by a little because he is the football captain. He's obviously got his football stuff going on. Peter's probably going to end up doing most of the work, but Peter's busy, so who knows how that's going to turn out. But yes, so Lonnie Lincoln and Peter, science partners. Lonnie invited him to go to the football game that we see in that episode, but Peter said he'd drop by for the first few minutes, but then he has to go and do his internship at Oscorp. So we see them as part of the plot. They win, and Nico invites him, calls him up, lets him know that they've been invited to like the after party to celebrate the win, and that's basically where we're at, because Peter was not able to attend the party, partly because of the internship, but partly because as he's working at the internship, he sees on the news that a building's on fire and there might be people trapped inside, that sort of thing. But when he gets to this apartment building, I think it's an apartment building, when he gets to the building, there's someone with these real high-tech wrist flamethrowers burning down this building. I think he goes by the name of Butane, but I'm not too sure on that one. Yeah, anyway, he's burning down the building. Spider-Man's asking him why. It turns out he was actually hired to do this by a developer as part of a whole insurance scam thing. Developer paid him to do it, burn it down, and then they'd buy the buildings and stuff back at a far cheaper price and that sort of thing. But it turns out, as Spider-Man, the funny part of the whole episode was that, like, turns out this guy's actually burning down the wrong building. He was on the wrong street. I think he had to go to 22nd Street or something, but he was on 21st. He was burning down the wrong building. So those two fight it out. The fight ends up at the pet store next door. So Spider-Man's having to save the animals from being burned. There was a corgi, there was a parrot, a couple of hamsters or something, and some fish. But yeah, he uses the big fish tank with the fish in it to actually take out Butane and his flamethrowers. There was a logo that they kind of pointed out. Let me Google that one, because I didn't... It seems somewhat familiar, but I'm not too sure. If someone knows what it is, because the internet's not actually telling me anything, it doesn't actually bring up what the logo is. If someone can actually point out to what it is it Oscorp or is it something else? If someone could point that out for me, that'd be great. But yeah, so those two fight, and then in the meanwhile, Nico's at this party, kind of just alone because she doesn't know anybody. She was hoping Peter could introduce her to his science partner and those guys as well. But obviously Peter wasn't there. She's upset. Tells Peter of a message that she's just going to bail because he's not there. But we did see her kind of just sad and alone at this party, so she left. So there might be something more to that as we go along with the story. Who knows, maybe it's just Peter being so busy with the internship, and because they are best friends, and it's just one of those things that Peter, he's got his internship, he's got the Spider-Man thing going on. We've seen in every previous Spider-Man iteration, there is friends and all of that to take a bit of a back seat to everything else he's got going on. And this could be something else. And what I've just remembered, now that I'm actually talking about her, is that Nico, again, according to the internet, Nico is a witch at some point. She does become a Wiccan. This goes back to just being an origin story for that sort of next generation. She either is a Wiccan now and she's keeping it a secret, or she will become a Wiccan as she learns some stuff, and she may become an enemy of Spider-Man at this point. I don't know. Like I said, this whole thing is in its own universe. As far as I know, it doesn't have connections to any comic books other than the characters. It doesn't have any connections to any comic books. It doesn't have connections to the MCU. It's in its own universe. So these characters can go either way. There's plenty of episodes to come. Who knows what's going to happen? But we had all of that, and then we end this episode with Peter going back to Oscorp. He gets torn apart by Dr. Whitman for running late and not being there and blah, blah, blah. And we saw Dr. Connors trying to cover for him, but Whitman didn't buy it. And then he gets called. A security guard comes down and tells Peter that Norman wants to see him. He goes up there. He's very apologetic for screwing up and blah, blah, blah. But then Norman Oscorp turns... Norman Oscorp. Osmond? What? Jesus Christ. Osborn. Oh, man. Yeah. Norman Osborn. My mind just went blank. But yeah, Norman Osborn turns around, shows him a security footage of him in the stairwell, putting on the Spider-Man suit and jumping away, and says, "So, you're Spider-Man." And then it cuts. So that'll be the next episode. Very interesting things happen in those two episodes. We got introduced to a whole lot of characters. We know the Avengers are a thing. We've seen the next generation of heroes and villains show up. Obviously, more to come. I think there's 10 episodes in total with this, so we've still got 8 more to go, where anything can really happen, and more characters can show up. I very much enjoyed these 2 episodes, and I'm just sad that you don't get to see my reactions because of my corrupted mic audio. And I could have done that thing where, I could have, after I fixed the issue, I could have gone back to watch it, but I don't like doing that. I don't like being disingenuous. I prefer, and what I've done since day one is just having my first initial reaction to whatever TV episode that I'm watching for any TV show. Otherwise, it's disingenuous. You don't get my genuine surprise. You don't get my genuine happiness, sadness. and I don't want to go through, and I don't want to go through, and I won't go through the whole disingenuous thing of being like, I've seen this thing before, I'm just gonna fake my way through the surprise and that, because I already know what happens. What's the point of faking my genuine surprise, or genuine yeses and nos and what the hells and holy craps, like, I'm not gonna do that, which is why I decided to do it this way. But I digress, man. Like, this show, fantastic. The animation style is very much reminiscent of early comic books. I don't even know what you'd equate this one to. I haven't read a lot of comic books, but I do want to say this is somewhat reminiscent of maybe Amazing Spider-Man, or just some of those early Spider-Man comics. Like, straight out of the bat, I was like, that looks like original sort of Spider-Man animation, like art style type thing is what I should say, art style. Yeah, so you got that classic art style. I think in these 2 episodes they do have moments of like, here's this comic book panel, here's this comic book panel, and so on and so forth. But it's been great. I think the voice actors are doing a phenomenal job so far. It's only been 2 episodes. It could get better or worse, I don't know. But they're doing a great job so far. Really enjoyed it. The music, man, like the music, dude. I need to find like the soundtrack to this TV show, man, because some of those songs were awesome. Some I've never even heard before, and I was like, I need to listen to that like a couple of times. Especially the theme song to this. We need to talk about that for just a second. It starts off with the classic Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. But then it fades. And before that, actually, it has the Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. And then it has like a bit of a modern beat to it. It sounded great. And then it fades into this great, and I say great because I very much enjoyed it. These first 2 episodes, this rap all about Spider-Man, and I very much enjoyed it. I do need to listen to it a couple of times to get all the lyrics, so I'll do that in my own time. But it was very good. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the rap. I didn't actually expect the Spider-Man thing, but I didn't expect any of it. It was great. It's a good song. I need to listen to it a few times. But then we have like the actual opening video, the credits, where it's all about Spider-Man, it's all about the characters, and it's all set in like comic book panels. But I think even some of them are like, you have like the comic book cover, but then in like the top corner you have like a character on that with like 15 cents underneath it, or however much the comic book is. I think back in the day they were dirt cheap. Now it's like $5. You'd have like the however much this comic book was that you're buying it underneath this picture of a superhero in the corner there. So they have a lot of those set up, and I think towards the end of the opening credits they actually show that happen during like a transition. They have it, there's like a freeze frame, and then they drag it over top corner, boom, Spider-Man, 15 cents or something like that. However much it was. I think it was 15 cents, but they have set it up like that. Very, very good opening theme. I'm glad it does include the Spider-Man. But yeah, very, very good. Overall, the production on this is fantastic. Like I said, music, art style, the animations they got going on for like web swinging, the flamethrowers, all of that was awesome. The water from the fish tank was great. And the final thing that I just wanted to bring up before we end this video is just his suit. Very homegrown. I think it's like a football jersey of some kind. It looks very jersey-like. I'm not sure. It's blue. He's put a spider on it. He's got a pair of blue tracksuit pants. I think it's got red stripes down the sides. He's got knee pads. He's got a pair of what looks like custom goggles on it to give him those spider eyes. Yeah, very homegrown suit. He's got like a pair of sneakers on, but Yeah, it's his first suit. It's very homegrown. We should mention the web shooters. He doesn't have the natural ability to shoot them from his wrist. He built his web shooters. He's got I think it's a gas tank that he carries around on his back that has the tubes coming out of it that connect to the shooters on his wrist, and he's able to utilize his webs that way. It's very, very prototypey. I'm not a fan of the tubing or the tank. Like I said, it's a very homegrown situation he's got going on. He's obviously just whipped something together so he could go out there and do his thing. But like, that tank could explode, the tubing could get caught on something, and he loses his ability to shoot his webs. Like I said, it's his first suit. It does have some strength to it. There was a scene, oh man, at this point, because I watched these episodes yesterday, at this point I can't even remember if it was the first or second one, whether it was like towards the end of the first episode or the beginning of the second one, where there was like a car chase. The cops were chasing this vehicle, criminals in it obviously, and in order to stop that vehicle from slamming into another one, he dialed the gas tank up to like 11, and you see the little dial go all the way into the red. The glass cracks on it just to show you how much he's putting into it. He shoots the webs. They go in as full on, I don't even know how many yards down this straight ass road. They don't hit a single thing along the way, and they hit the back of this vehicle. It stops the vehicle from slamming into another one, and then they end that scene with Spider-Man on top of the vehicle and the crowd swarming and congratulating him and cheering on and that sort of thing. So he's gaining a little more recognition that way. But yeah, I just wanted to have a quick talk about that suit. I do like the aesthetic of it and what it looks like. It just obviously, it does need improvement, but like I said, it's very prototypey. It's his first suit, and obviously as things go on, maybe he gets some money along the way. He's able to buy some new stuff. Maybe he makes it at Oscorp or something. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, we did see a small scene of him in class being distracted from the class by drawing new suit ideas into his notebook. There was even one that had the web gliders under his arms there, so he's obviously coming up with all these ideas for different suits. Hopefully we see some of them as this season goes along. And I'll say season because I have no idea if there's going to be a season 2 or if this is just like a one-off thing. I don't know. But if this season does go on, hopefully there's upgrades. If the series goes on, hopefully we see like the web gliders and all these other sorts of things happening. If anyone has their own thoughts about the suits and what they think of the whole aesthetic of the thing, like the tracksuit, the jersey, all of it, let me know what you're thinking about it in the comment section down below. I'm very much enjoying these first 2 episodes, and I can't wait until next, well, at this point this week, it would be February 5th, I think, February 5th, 6th. I'm in Australia, so it's probably going to be the 6th, which will probably be Thursday. They dropped 3 episodes. And that's something else I just wanted to bring up too. It's like they dropped these 2 first episodes as like the season premiere. And on the 5th, they're dropping 3 episodes. And then they're dropping another 3 the next week on the 12th. And then they're dropping another 2 on the 19th. So over a 3-week period, they're dropping 10 episodes. It's an odd way of doing things. I am curious as to know why they've chosen to do that. If anyone actually has an answer to that, I would love to know, but it's not really a big deal. It's just weird that they've chosen to do that. Actually, Wikipedia on the music. Let's see. Leo Byronberg and Zach Robinson wrote the they composed the series score. The series theme song, Neighbor Like Me, was performed by the Math Club, featuring Relay, and Mellow Makes Music is a rap that samples the theme song from the animated series Spider-Man 1967 to 70 by Paul Webster and Bob Harris. And the song was released as a single by Hollywood Records and Marvel Music on January 21st. Okay. So, interesting. Yeah, so now that I got the actual song title, I'm definitely going to have to go to YouTube and check that one out many times. But like, that's all I can really talk about. We've talked about the characters, what's happened in that. Like I said, I am sorry you don't get to see my initial reaction to the actual episodes because of my corrupted mic audio. But let me know what you'll think about this series. What do you think about the characters? What you think about the art style, everything, the music, the theme song. Let me know what you'll think about it. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you have anything more to add to the conversation? I would love to hear your opinions on these first 2 episodes. And let me know what you'll think about this type of video. I don't normally do these sort of episode discussions / reviews. Let me know what you'll think. Do you want to see more of them with any TV show moving forward? There's plenty of TV shows out there. It might be easier for some if I just discuss the episodes as we go along, but who knows? If you'll want to see more of these sort of discussion like videos, let me know. But in the meantime, as usual, if you'll enjoy my videos and you want to see more, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, join me on Patreon for full-length TV show reactions for $5 a month. Appreciate the love and support. And of course, y'all can join me next time, and I will see you there. Bye, guys.